So if anybody else has arrived, do just give me a wave in the comments, and then I'll know that you're here as well. So now, with this session, as you've all known from the post I sent out, my thought was that with all the fear whizzing around the world at the moment, that I would really like to do a session that would help to balance that and to access calm. That is my intention. My other intention is that, hello Jane. So my intention is that each of you will find something useful in this session, that you will feel shifts, at least one shift in this session. And this applies whether you're with me live now or whether you're watching on catch up. For those of you who haven't worked with me before, just a couple of things that just to let you know how I work. I will be chatting through what I'm aware of as it comes up in the session, because this is your session and I think it's important for you to know. But try not to get too hung up or hang on to any particular aspect of the session, because it's really the whole thing rather than any particular aspect, although some may resonate with you and you may want to think about them, but it's it's the whole really that is the important thing. And the other thing is that I should mention is that there's no sense of judgment with anything that comes up. Everything that comes up in a session is purely coming up to be rebalanced so that you feel easier. Okay, that's the bottom line with what's going to go on this evening. So anybody else who's just appeared, if you could just wave in the comments, and then I'll know you're there. And I think we'll just get going now. All right. Okay. So fine. I hope you're comfortable. Doesn't matter if you're sitting or lying or however. Just be comfortable. I'm just going to calm my mind down, and then we'll see what pops up, and I'll just chat through what I'm aware of. So maybe just take a couple of calming breaths just to center yourselves. And just focus on the breath. This is actually something that I talk about a lot with people, and I've done quite a few posts about them. Hi, Alexander. Oh, Denise. Hello. Lovely to see you both. With the breath, one or two of you will have heard this from me before, but for those of you who haven't, I think it's a really useful trick on when you want to get out of a stress response when you're in the midst of fear. So I'll just talk you through this now before we get going into the session proper. So I'd like you just to bring your attention to your breath. Don't try and alter it at all. Just observe it. Just watch it. And you'll notice there are gaps between the in and the out breath and the out and the in breath. So just watch that for, watch your breath cycle for maybe a couple of breath cycles. And if you keep watching, you may find that your breath gets a bit longer and a bit slower, and that's fine. Now, what you probably will have noticed is that you feel calmer. And the reason for that is that the brain can only think of one thing at a time. So by focusing on the breath, you are detaching from everything else that has been whizzing around. So this is a real gift of a little technique that you can do anytime, anywhere for yourself, just to give yourself a reset, give yourself a pause, a moment. Okay. So I'm now aware of using the breath really to connect with the earth and bring up earth energy up through the soles of your feet and up through and into your body. There's an awareness of it moving right up through your legs, through the center of the abdomen, up into the head. And it's as if you're breathing up through the center of the body, and then the out breath is down the back. So you're creating a bit of a circuit here. And with the out breath, there's a consciousness of releasing. Releasing any tensions, any fears that have gripped you around the heart field or in the stomach or around your sense of self and your sense of safety. And now we've got an awareness of grounding coming into the session. Now, grounding, when I talk about grounding, what I'm actually referring to is the fact that, if we produce an excess of positive charge in the body, and if we walk around outside in bare feet, which, now the sun's out, we can probably do if we're not in isolation, the ground releases negative charge, and we have this excess of positive charge in the body. So when the two make contact, you're neutralizing that excess positive charge, the free radicals. And this is very beneficial for us in so many ways. And so I'm bringing the energetic understanding of that into the session to neutralize. Okay, I'm now focusing on your sense of vision. Now, there are two ways of looking at the senses. So with your sense of vision, it can be the physical sense of vision, but it can also be to do with how you're perceiving, how you're interpreting both the world around you and your own internal world as well. And it's really to allow some of the filters that we naturally build up to fall away, those filters that no longer serve you, so that you get better clarity of interpretation of what you're perceiving. And this is connecting to the pericardium. Now, this is all to do with heart protection. It's a meridian. It's one of these energy channels in the body, but it's also, a physical layer around the body that protects, or around the heart, sorry, that protects the heart. So you've got that as well. Coming up, there's consciousness of heart protection, and it's connecting to, it's to do with fear, and it's to do with doubt, and it's all to do with deciphering, making your way through the mass of information that's coming and working out what is true for you. And we've got grounding again, following that. Okay, so now I'm aware of the solar plexus. So the solar plexus is all to do with your sense of self, your sense of personal power. It's also to do with receiving. So this is very much bound up with the fear and the doubt. Excuse me. So this is coming up for rebalancing. It's more to do with the doubt, actually, rather than the fear. It's really to do with yeah, it's to do with sifting. It's to do with sifting through the deluge of information and of fear, and it's to do with really being able to pick out what's useful for you and to step through and away from everything that's not useful for you, that doesn't resonate for you. We're then focusing on the breath. So the breath is coming up in association with holding and releasing. It's to do with taking in and letting go. It's to do with consciousness of acceptance, of letting go of old habits, but in a way that feels easy. It's to do with a sense of ease associated with this letting go, this stepping away from old realities, which actually is a gift, because it means then you're stepping into the new, and there's a whole world of opportunity and the potential for a shift in your perception of what's important, what matters, what brings you joy, and what allows you to express your sense of self and your true sense of purpose. It's really connecting to this consciousness of the gift of time that we've all been given at the moment. Everything's usually so busy with everybody running around, and actually we're in this pause. And for some people this is really uncomfortable. They don't like the silence, they don't like being rather than doing, but it's actually an opportunity to breathe and just to be, and have the space to do that without we'll just adjust to do that. So there's consciousness of feeding your soul. I have a heart field awareness here. I always refer to the heart field because there are so many aspects that we can think of when we think of the heart. So I just think it's much easier just to say heart field, and then in my intention that's scooped up everything that could possibly be involved there. Unless it's something specific, that's what I tend to do. So we have a consciousness of self-acceptance, and we also have a consciousness of forgiveness. It's both self-directed and towards others, forgiveness of self and forgiveness of others in this kind of transitional settling phase It's to do with getting over any potential spiky reactions. It's that kind of thing, I think. I'm now focusing on the gallbladder. Now, in Chinese medicine, the gallbladder is all to do with decision making. So this is what this is getting at, is consciousness of the fact that you have a choice as to how you want to be and how you react to life. And it's a consciousness of deciding to react in the way that best serves you, that connects to your heart field, that feels really right and resonates. Have an awareness of the back of the body, and there's consciousness of support, actually gentle support. And now there's consciousness of a sense of peace around the body, actually. This is in the energy field around the body. And then there's a focus on the solar plexus. So this is all to do with your sense of self, your sense of personal power, receiving. And again, your sense of vision. So it's to do with how you're perceived. Well, it could be the physical sense of vision, but it's also to do with how you're interpreting what you see, how you view things in the world around you, how you're viewing and interpreting what you hear in, inside. And it's to do with a sense of seeing yourself more clearly. And then there's a focus on the small intestines. Now, the small intestines in Chinese medicine are all to do with discernment. So it's working out what's useful or not useful for you, what resonates or doesn't resonate for you, that kind of thing. And then back to the solar plexus. And we've got the aum coming in around this. Now, the aum is a bit like the yoga om, but it's 3 sounds, ah, oo, And the idea with this is that they each have a different frequency, and actually when you say these sounds, when you make these sounds, different parts of the body actually resonate or vibrate. So when it comes into the session, and in this case it's around the solar plexus, it's really to synchronize the vibrational quality of everything that's come up in the session and with your sense of self. And then I'm aware of the brain, the head, the energy, the electromagnetic field around the head. And then grounding. And just waiting for everything to settle. Okay. I'm now aware of just underneath the collarbone. Sorry, I think I've moved the mic there. So just 1 second, see what's happening there. So this is all to do with lymph, circulation of the lymph. We're balanced, got a consciousness of balancing out body chemistry and neurotransmitters and the fight or flight response. And grounding again. Okay, there's a focus on the spine now. This, you know, we can hold on to stuff in the tissue of the body and in the cellular level, okay? And what we're working with here is this idea of allowing things that no longer serve you to be released. So perhaps tune in to your spine. Just have a sense of your spine, and you may find that you're drawn to different areas of the spine, and you might get an awareness of a memory or an emotion, or I don't know, could be anything, a word. And there's this there's light coming in down through the spine, and it's washing down through the spine, and it's allowing these things that are no longer serve you to be released. So just have an awareness of this sense of light flowing down the spine, and you can just scan the spine. You might be drawn to other parts of the body, but it's the spine's in my awareness right now. And it may be just one area, or you may find that one area feels a bit sort of sticky, and then that clears, and then your attention is drawn to another area. So just play with that for a moment. I've got an awareness of guilt at not doing the right thing coming up for releasing. Fabulous. And there's grief coming up for releasing. It's flowing. You'll find, I think, that when you get a sense of releasing, you'll probably find that they flow down through the body and out through the soles of the feet, or out through the base of the spine. There's still this light. So light, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but light, when it comes into my sessions, always represents healing and potential. And in this instance, there's definitely this sense, of washing, of clearing, of creating space and flexibility and comfort. I also have as something that's coming up for releasing an awareness of difficulty when you feel you're not gelling with somebody else's view of how things are, and that's okay. It's just a permission. This is hooking into your sense of self-acceptance. It's an allowing of releasing of any shoulds. I should be agreeing or feeling what they are. It's to do with allowing yourself to step back from that and to acknowledge, but to take in, but not take on. That's really what it's all about. Okay, and we've got grounding again. Okay, my attention is being brought back to the breath, so where we started the session. and to grounding. And there's a sense of settling as well now. And still a sense of releasing and settling, and so I'm just holding the space for this to do what it needs. Still going. I can't move on. I just have to hang on in here till it resolves. Ah, we got a permission. So the phrase that's coming up is, I give myself permission to access my sense of peace. So this is heart field. There we go. That's the end of the session. So I hope you found that useful and that you feel a bit calmer than when you arrived here. Thank you so much for joining me and taking time out of your Tuesday evening. I will be holding these as a weekly event at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. Do, if you know of somebody else who might like to join us, do you let them know that it's happening. And my intention also, I wasn't quick enough off the mark today. I didn't realize YouTube took so long to sort of process stuff, but I will be next time. My intention is to be doing it on Facebook, but also on YouTube, so that people who aren't on Facebook can also watch, because they can just Google YouTube and get to the link. So hopefully that'll be up and running by the next one. If you'd like to book a private session with me, just go to my website, which you can see on the bottom of the screen there. It's amandaweller.com, and contact me. And yes, I hope that was useful. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you next time.